If you'll rise and join me in a pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic
and
which is one nation,
one nation,
indivisible,
with liberty
and justice for all. Welcome to the March meeting for the Phillipstown Town Board. Can you believe it? Almost out of winter. Approval of minutes, workshop meeting, January 20, 2021.
So moved.
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye. Workshop meeting, January 22nd, 2021.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye. Monthly town board meeting, February 4, 2021.
so moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye. Committee reports, Conservation Board.
Okay, the Conservation Board met on February 9th. We had Riverview, which is a repeat. Obviously, we're working with them regarding coming up with an invasive plan, removal capability, also native species planted, and we're looking at a 3-year cycle. This would involve the restoration plan as well. We discussed with them also the maintenance agreement, which would deal with the hydraulic oil. We have Clove Creek, which is only a couple of 100 feet away, so obviously that is a consideration as well. We talked to 9 Winston. This is regarding water running onto Winston Lane itself. Obviously, the board discussed, and obviously the ideal option is for any runoff to go into drainage, actual drains themselves. There are a wetland and a pond area, and obviously what we don't want to do is to cause any kind of contamination potentials there as well. So the board is going to have to go out and do a site visit because we're not sure if this is a pocket wetland or a vernal pool. So that will have to be looked at a little further. We also got involved with 28 and 30. This is Hudson River View Lane. They are those homes along the Hudson. Again, this is a discussion about a pool. Obviously, there's some concerns about the fact that if the water obviously escapes, could it in any way cause a problem with the Hudson River itself? The actual board also asked whether the pool could be placed physically on the house, and that was the engineer said no, that was a potential capability. So there was a lot of discussion about the overflow, what could happen. Obviously, we know from the past that the peat sewer system is going to, septic system will be involved with that as well. Obviously, they discussed the impervious service area itself, and of course, the big concern, of course, is these pools that are located alongside any waterways, and of course, with the Hudson there, that is clearly a big issue. Also, at 301, this was the burned down house. It's referred to as this. Obviously, is a wanting to build another home, 1,200 square feet, basically of the similar footprint, the older home. The problem is obviously the original approvals back in the 50s. Well, they didn't have requirements with regards to sediment control, ground intrusion to the waterways and so forth, which are close by. There was a big discussion back and forth regarding the actual septic. Our standards are higher than Putnam County's health department in certain areas. So that's where I think applicants have problems, because they think as soon as the health department says fine, that we're going to say fine, and that's not always the case. So people should realize that it's very important to talk to both sides and realize that you have to satisfy issues, not just for the county, but also for the town. So I think that was a pretty good discussion. They're going to look into the peat system, which was recommended as well, and we'll follow up with that in our next meeting, which is on March 9th. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. We're going to skip around here and go back to the Phillipstown Depot Theater Company meeting. So we have Claudio here.
Sorry I was late, gentlemen. Got held up. Not put them up, held up, but delayed.
All right, we have a quorum because we have a town board here, so I call the meeting to order. And again, we have a quorum. So Claudia, we have a nomination.
We have nominated for the board Charles Dupree. I gave you a brief resume of his career. As you can see, he is a gentleman of some standing, and he is retiring and has more time available. We think he would be a definite benefit to the depot board.
Terrific. He's got
So
quite a resume,
yes,
just from this little bit.
And he's a
would like-
veteran. Yep.
Pardon?
I see he's a veteran as well.
He's a veteran as well, yes. I would like to nominate him for the Depot Theater Board.
Okay. Resolved that the following individual be elected director of the corporation, Charles Dupree of 100 Travis Corners Road, Garrison, New York. Could I get a motion on that resolution?
So moved.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye. Claudio, thank you. And it's just great that we continue to get just such amazing volunteers for the town. So please extend our heartfelt thanks to Mr. Dupree, and we look forward to working with him.
Thank you for working with us in terms of nominating these wonderful people and electing them to the board. And again, my apologies for being delayed.
No problem, Claudia. Thank you.
Quite all right. All right, moving right along. Thanks, Claudio. We'll see you soon.
Thank you, guys.
Take care, bud.
Thanks. Claudia.
Recreation.
Good evening. The Recreation Commission met on February 23rd via Zoom and reported that the preschool program has had an increase in enrollment. They have a capacity of 10 and 9 children are now enrolled, which is an increase. The theater program, Claudio actually reported on that at the Recreation Commission, will be doing outdoor music and other entertainment beginning in April. So look out for the Phillipstown Depot Theater activities outdoors in April. The Rec Commission also heard about the vaccination clinics on site at the gymnasium, which has been a huge success for Putnam County and for the residents on the west side of the county. I believe 1,000 people have been through the facility already, and more are planned as more vaccine supply comes into the county. The county also repaved the walkway in front of the gym, so thank you for that.
They worked in conjunction with our highway department.
Yes, that's right. So thank you to the highway department too. And we also are pleased that there is now Wi-Fi throughout the building and that they have had Cablevision come in and provide some additional lines. So that has enhanced the clinics and also access to all of the programs of the Recreation Commission. And
Good news. Thank you, Judy.
I have one question. Oh. Sorry, are you done? I apologize.
Go ahead. That's
Oh,
okay.
I was just wondering if the outdoor theater programs, are they going to be in the parking? I mean, where is that going to happen? Down at
On the plaza in front of,
behind?
yeah, it's
behind-
the railroads. Well, I believe it's the railroad side of the plaza. And they also have other space near parking. You're right. There is additional space there. I'm not sure if they're going to also utilize that.
Okay, thank you.
And the commission, I just wanted to add, also discussed the New Leaf Garden, community garden, and, are happy that that's going to go forward. And I just want to thank the commission, the Recreation Commission again for their work on that with New Leaf Garden, community garden.
Terrific.
John, just to explain, we just about 2 years ago resurfaced that whole plaza area between the
patio,
theater
right.
and the track, and we've set that up so that we can have performances out there in the open.
Great. Thank you, Claudia. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Judy. Phillipstown Hub.
The Phillipstown Hub is rescheduling the Phillipstown Coalition meeting for April 14th at 3 p.m. And if people would like to participate via Zoom, go to phillipstownhub.org to register.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Planning board.
Okay, planning board, we had a planning board meeting on February 18th, 7:30 via Zoom. It was another very long meeting, but I'll keep this report as short as possible. Correspondence, Magazzino indicated that their lot line change that they approved a few months ago is going to change again. They just wanted to give us some heads up that what's happening. Also, Hudson Highland Reserve indicated they're going to be coming back onto the agenda within the next few months. Correspondence. Okay, we had a public hearing. Desmond Fish Library, as a report over the last several months, they're installing a solar array, a ribbon, along with a discovery path. So there was a public hearing. There was quite a few people on the public hearing. Only a few people actually had something to say. Everything was basically in favor of it. There was one person who had not against it, but it's a neighbor. She noticed on the plans that there was like a little bit of a gathering area, which is proposed for right now, is really close to their property line. And all they asked is if they could possibly move that gathering area to another location on the site plan. They said they could probably, will most likely be able to do that. So the public hearing was closed, but just today we got an email from a residents, and they also had a couple concerns around it as well. So I got that, and I sent that over. Everyone on the planning board has that email as well with some additional concerns. But I don't know if that's, the public hearing's closed, but usually they do take written comment to a certain amount of time. Okay, old business, Mark Cohen, 242 Route 403 in Garrison. He's looking to build a 2,300 square foot approved building lot with a cell and septic. He already has the driveway basically in. It has Board of Health approval on the septic and well. We're doing a site survey visit this coming Saturday. The site visit we had scheduled a few weeks ago got snowed out. So we're rescheduling that. That's going to be March 7th at 9:30. So we'll see how they do want to be able to get the permits ahead of time, possibly because there's those bats that are in that area and they want to take down a few trees. So we're going to see if they can possibly get approval for at least get the trees get approved to take the trees down before the end of March. We're going to, no guarantees that's going to happen, but the board's going to work on that, and Steve Gabbett and Ron Gainer. Also, we had 3622 Route 9. We've also reported this on quite a bit. It's going to be right over there by Nicola's restaurant. There's big plans there to take down the two existing structures that are there and put up a 20,000 square foot structure along with another 15,000 square foot structure. This is going to be for a construction yard. They do have plans with an entrance and two exits and an entrance out front, but there's still a lot of concerns regarding that, regarding the wetlands and so forth like that. They're still waiting to do the part 2 and part 1 of AEF, which hasn't been approved yet. They're looking to get a public hearing, hopefully scheduled in April. Also, we have the Garrison Golf Course, Shakespeare's Festival as well. As you know, this is going to be an ongoing thing on the agenda for quite some time coming here. The issue that we had they submitted, the Shakespeare team submitted all their answers to the questions that came up about a month ago, but only the day before the planning board. So the planning board did not get a chance to review those at all. So they're going to be picking that up again next month. There's still a possibility they may have a special meeting just regarding the Shakespeare Festival, so we keep that moving forward as quick as possible. As everyone knows, this is a phased project. It's going to probably take over 5 to 10 years for it all to get done. The first phase basically is just to get the tent at Basketball that's currently there installed, parking lot installed, and the ticketing booth there as well for the first year. And that's not going to be hopefully 2022. All right. Again, will be more on that coming in as many months ahead. Meeting was adjourned at 9:50. Next meeting is March 18th, 7:30 via Zoom.
Thanks, Bob. Zoning.
I attended the zoning board meeting. There were 2 public hearings. Tony and Kim Rickey 3315 Route 9, Cold Spring, New York, to convert a storage area to a living space. That application, the public hearing was held, it was reviewed, and it was approved unanimously. Chris Flagg and Heidi Snyder, 699 Old Albany Post Road in Garrison, seek several variances for a proposed addition to a non-conforming pre-existing structure. This public hearing was held and the ZBA voted, and they voted to deny the application. Then the homeowner came on to the Zoom meeting and gave some additional information. There was a motion to have a second vote, and the second vote, the variance was approved unanimously. So, and then there was 2 applications for review. John and Renee McCann, 14 Oak Road, Garrison. They seek a variance to construct a deck in the rear yard setback. This application was reviewed. The ZBA requested a set of plans and a survey to show the deck and construction, and it was referred to a public hearing on March 8th. Betsy Haddett, 15 Lake Celeste Drive, Garrison, also requested a variance to construct an addition in the side yard setback. That application was referred to the Conservation Board. So the next meeting will be March 8th via Zoom.
Thanks,
That's it.
John. Highway.
Highway, I have that as well. March 4th, 2021, Phillipstown Town Board members from Carl Frazenda, work performed by the Phillipstown Highway for the month of February. February, snow was the name of the game and a lot of it, starting with Winter Storm Arlene and 24 inches of snow. The crews have been out continuously since, pushing back snow and dealing with new storms. Super Bowl Sunday following Tuesday, plus 6 inches of ice and snow. Viola, plus 8 more, etc. When roads became snow covered and are dangerous, please try to stay off the roads if you can. Due to community policing, a suspect was charged and arrested for illegal dumping on Indian Brook Road. Remember, if you see something, say something. Kudos for doing the right thing and taking action. The Highway Department received approximately 25 phone calls for the month of February. Roughly $12,240 was spent on vehicle maintenance and repairs for the month of February. Above mentioned accounts submitted by Carl Frazenda, Highway Superintendent.
If you dump in Phillipstown, we're going to catch you and we're going to prosecute you. So that's the
Absolutely.
name of that.
I wonder if this was the same one that's been dumping on Indian Brook continuously.
Probably.
Yeah, it probably is. I mean, that seemed to be a favorite spot for somebody.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, not any longer.
Yeah, well,
No, I hope they
anyone know what the consequences are for that?
generally pretty steep fines, and there can be criminal charges also.
Good.
So, yeah, good is right.
Yeah, because these contractors are getting paid to take this stuff away legally, and then they dump it there because they want to get more money. That's what's happening.
Yep. Well, the tires, that's a
cases,
big
yeah.
issue. So
Yeah.
I'm glad they caught them. Building and land acquisition, the town hall, as everybody's probably heard by now, we're moving back in April 1st. We had a good meeting on Monday, just to let everybody know, you got to look at the punch list. We need to get certain things done, and we are moving in April 1. They know it. The mover is scheduled. John has scheduled the mover, so we're going to be back in there, and that's going to be, a great change for all of us. A much, much nicer work environment. Everybody in a brand new segregated space. Really, it really is a nice building now. So
Beautiful. The plumber has been there all week, by the way, since Tuesday. So
oh,
they're
yeah.
getting their work done finally.
Yes, I saw them there yesterday.
that's good. Because April 1st is right
Yeah.
up ahead.
Just
Are
so
we
you
gonna
know,
do our meeting there? Is that,
Oh, yeah.
well,
Yeah,
yeah,
could-
I don't know. It's gonna be tight. Yeah.
See what
Well, I don't know
happens.
if we have
But I mean, once everybody gets vaccinated and that, by June, we'll be back in business, I think.
Okay.
It'll be
Yeah,
up
so
to the
just-
public. The meetings are going to be televised, so we can still reach out.
Yeah,
to
while you're
people.
talking about the televised, like that single mode fiber was installed yesterday.
Mhm.
So it's all done. And when we're ready to move it in, he showed me what I need to do to patch it in. So whenever that time comes, we'll take care of that. Also regarding that today, I signed the contract with Optimum to put the new service in as well. I told him, we have a month to get it in, but I don't really want to turn down until April 1st. I don't want to be
Right.
paying for a month of something that we're not going to be.
Right. Perfect.
That's in line. It's hopefully, like I said, I signed that today, and so that's in the works as well. I already got in touch with Jimmy, our network person, and let him know what's going on. as well, our phone guys, so everyone knows April 1st is the day.
Yeah, we're gonna jump right from the 1800s right into the 2000s. All right, then.
Before
Good
they're
news all the way
over.
around. Cemetery Committee.
Okay, I've been on the phone discussing our upgrades, which we're going to be doing spring work. We're going to be working again in the Mountain Avenue Cemetery. We've done a lot of work there. We're really looking to try to finish a lot of the work there and then move over to Cedar Street. If asking the public now, if they have any particular graves that maybe are in the family and they're looking to see if those can get repaired sooner rather than waiting, we're open to that idea. So people can contact me and so forth on that. We do have a new member. I do encourage other people to join us. You can join us to do site visits. We do physical cleaning of the graves as well. You could also just do research, which we could use as well. So you don't have to, even if you can't do physical work, we could use you on the research side. The new member I will be taking around and along with the committee and showing them the different areas and so forth and explaining what we've done. If anybody wishes to join us, they can contact me, and again, I can make arrangements for that. And we're looking forward to getting started again. That's it. Thank you.
Good news. Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
Putnam County Legislator.
Hi, all you
Hello.
beautiful faces. Hi.
Hi, Nancy.
Thanks for having me tonight. I've been seeing a lot of you lately. You guys are all working so hard, and I've been seeing you a lot of these Zoom meetings. We're getting, I think, more done now during COVID than because we can go to many more meetings. It's kind of crazy. So listening to all these reports, especially, the news on the vaccine front, just have to say I'm pretty glad that my hard work is paid off and we're seeing services on this side of the county. Vaccines and Optimum at the rec center. So, let's keep on keeping on and seeing this hard work come to fruition. This month, I've been working really hard and spending a lot of time on helping those responsible for administering vaccines find more resources and scoping out alternative sites. John and I met with the North Highlands Fire Department commissioners and secured that site that they used, I believe, today, or they're using tomorrow for a vaccination clinic. So we got that approval for Drug World. Today, I met with another organization in town to scout out that site because, once this opens up and they have access to thousands of doses, we're going to need more and bigger spaces. So I've been working on facilitating and networking with different organizations in town to do that. I just have to say there's so many brilliant volunteers who've come forward to help with this process. People who want to use their expertise to facilitate new scheduling systems to make it equitable. And, people are working really hard, and we really do appreciate all of that. And, especially all your hard work and openness. I know the rec center site is reserved for the county. So we have to make that clear that has to be left and set up for the county, and we really can't use it for any other organizations, any other pharmacies. I know Sun River and Beacon is administering now too, and our folks are in close proximity. They might be looking for a site. So just wanted to say that. Upcoming on March 9th in a special meeting that the legislature has scheduled to approve a plan created by the county executive's police policy review panel. I disagreed with scheduling this meeting to approve this plan without further discussion. The county had a real opportunity here to work with the tiny population in Putnam County that represents our diversity, but they failed right out of the gate to include this population, appointing nobody from a minority group to this panel, not even their minority leader, me, the only Democrat, or anybody from an underrepresented group is on this panel that's set to vote on this plan to forward to the legislature for the legislature to approve. There were subgroups that helped create the plan, but none of those subgroups are voting members to give the end result. So we shall see. It's up for approval on the 9th, only after one public comment period on the first draft plan. So that's a big deal for, us as a county. It's a big deal in Phillipstown because, we're served by the Putnam County Sheriff's Department. It was a very confusing Protective Service Committee meeting last week where the sheriff was, I thought, ripped apart for not cooperating, which was a complete lie. I have sat with the sheriff on calls with different subcommittee panels. He's been at every panel review committee meeting, as have I. And I think the legislature and the county executive don't understand the executive order. What this plan is a roadmap for what policies are to be in the future for the sheriff, how we can devise policies, how the sheriff will be guided, like our comprehensive plan, like our master plan. We use these plans to guide us in what our laws and codes will be. But for some reason, I think they thought the sheriff was going to have completed every policy revised and reviewed. But how could he know until this plan was approved? So my comments on that process, some fun things. I attended the conversations with Putnam farmers this week and got to learn about all of these local farmers within Putnam County. It was hosted by Cornell Cooperative Extension, and all our local farmers were on, and it was super fun and interesting. You guys probably got an invitation for their agricultural roundtable, which is really geared for elected officials, planning board members, zoning board members. I'll if you haven't gotten that, I'll forward it to you. I believe it's on March 11th. Unfortunately, 9 a.m. to noon, you'll all be working. I'll see if it gets recorded and I can share it with you. But as you know, the county has a process where we include properties in our agricultural districts, and sometimes we run into trouble. We had a pretty controversial one this year, and it's important for zoning boards and planning boards to understand what it means, and for property owners to know what they have to do to go through the process. So I'm so grateful for Cornell Cooperative Extension. They're just a great resource for us. And these forums they have are super interesting and fun. So any questions for me?
I mean, it's just an observation with the sheriff. I mean, I understand that in the police policy review, the sheriff is obviously going to be a participant, but he is not the person who would lead that. He doesn't create the plan.
Oh, he shouldn't. What's the
Plan
point?
is, no, how do you police your own organization?
The whole point of it.
Right. So, I mean, that's up to the county executive. And I mean,
Bizarre.
it's just awful, in my opinion, that there is so much politics being injected into this in an election year. It's blatant.
Well,
Faced. It's just, they're going to blame, and they're going to berate him and try to tear him down. But anybody who knows Bob Langley knows, number one, he's an excellent sheriff, a really honest individual. He's not full of hype, and he has, the complete respect of the department because of those attributes. He's just a very, very decent person. So, I mean, I'm glad that he is the Putnam County Sheriff, and I just would really caution the legislature,
well, especially with this process of this Executive Order 203. This is really important. And as one member of the legislature said at the end of one of the meetings, this is BS. And that's going into this process. And it's this, they missed an opportunity to include the public more, to hear from the minority members, the minority residents of Putnam County, to have them sitting at the table as voting members of this plan. And if you look at the plan and the members of that panel, it doesn't exist. And they missed a great opportunity, because this is what I've seen and I've learned from this town board. What you do, you include your community. You include your community, not just the ones that you've appointed as your directors of departments and elected officials throughout the county. You include people who are the moms at Haldane or the experts in urban planning. That's the range that I see Phillipstown including on all of their boards. And that's what I learned in growing up in this, and that's what I thought this would be, but it's not.
And that's why we come out after we introduce any initiative and we include the public, we always come out with a better product.
And have many public discussions.
Exactly. I understand that it can elongate the process, but in the end, it's always worth it to get that public input.
Yeah.
So thank you. Thanks for being our voice over there.
Or let me know if, we've got stuff offline to work on together, traffic things, and we'll keep working. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Nancy.
Thank you.
Yeah, and just to the COVID initiatives, there is going to be another vaccine clinic in Phillipstown tomorrow, and then another one on Tuesday. So people can go onto the Putnam County Health Department website, just keep watching there and get yourself signed up if you're eligible. Obviously several of us are still waiting anxiously, but I think in the next month, you're going to see a lot of vaccines get into people's arms, and then, we're going to get over the top of this thing.
Yeah.
So,
And thank
until
you
then-
to all the people that are doing it.
oh yeah. Until
Excellent.
then, people need to continue to take precautions.
Yeah.
We're almost, let's not get the ball to the 1 yard line and fumble. So, all right, we can move on to the agenda, Tara.
The first item on the agenda is a resolution authorizing Carl Frisenda, Highway Superintendent, to purchase 2 new 2021 Dodge Ram 5500 trucks from the Onondaga statewide bid on Gov 10619 at a total of $162,902.60 as budgeted for in the 2021 budget.
So you notice 2 critical phrases in there: at state bid and as budgeted for in the 2021 budget. So that tells you it's been accounted for and it's going through state bid.
Sorry,
Yeah,
there
go
is one change. I'm sorry. They originally had spec'd out 1 truck for the same dollar amount, and they're actually switching over to getting these 2 vehicles, which are smaller but very heavy duty, more maneuverable. Carl seems to think these are working better than the larger trucks. So
Yeah.
it's the same amount of money, just a different vehicle.
Yeah, and the roads we have, obviously, you don't want to be, 10-wheelers are far from maneuverable.
Right.
So, yeah, perfect.
Right.
All right, could I get a motion on that resolution?
So moved.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And I
Aye.
vote aye.
Next is a resolution approving the following change order for the Town Hall renovation project in the amount of $14,275, and that's for copper gutters and leaders for PVS construction.
So this is a change technically, but there was gutter work that was allotted for in the bid for built-in gutters. In discussing this and looking at the condition of them, John and I came to the determination that it's just not worth it. Built-in gutters are not a great idea to begin with. So the external gutters, we had a commercial size gutter, 6-inch, and the copper. We had a lot of back and forth with the contractor to get credit for that work. And then for the additional costs involved, we had the $14,000. So I'm comfortable with that. We did spend a lot of time, actually a couple months, going back and forth about this. So I don't know if you have any comments, John.
I'm in support, and frankly, like you said, a copper or the internal Yankee gutters are notorious for leaks. I think this is a much cleaner job, and the copper gutters look phenomenal on the outside. I think it's very appropriate for this building. So
Yeah, and
That's my
they have
opinion.
excellent
But-
longevity. So it's not something you'll be going back and
Yeah.
doing anytime soon.
I-
So
I'm
with that, could I
supporting
get
it
a
as well.
motion approving the resolution for that change order?
So moved.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And I vote
Aye.
aye.
Next is a resolution approving the following change order for the Town Hall renovation project in the amount of $15,362, and that's for interior moldings for PVS construction.
So this was mostly around the courtroom moldings. because they were in really bad condition. By the time we took out the old windows and we started really taking a close look at the moldings, we thought that we'd be able to preserve a lot of that. But it just wasn't the case. So, the work had to be done, and it was done on a T&M basis because you really couldn't tell. I mean, once they did one whole set of windows, they had a better idea of what it was going to take, but they were rebuilding what's called the stool, the apron, all the verticals. They took it all off, stripped it all, rebuilt a lot of large sections of it. It was a lot of extra work. So
This
and
is
I-
also, oh, sorry.
yeah, go ahead, John.
This is also some of the base and trim in the clerk's office and in the assessor's office, which was not originally in the contract.
No, I mean, those areas weren't
Weren't being
originally
touched.
even slated to be touched.
Correct.
This project certainly has had some mission creep, but in the end, if you're going to do it, let's get it all done. So
Yeah.
it worked out. I also do believe that in them getting going in the building, getting a feeling for the pace of the work, how things were going to go, that we actually did ultimately get better pricing on these things rather than this mystery bid where you really had no idea what you were going to be walking into. It gave them time to acclimate there and to take a look at the existing conditions. And, I said this the other day at a meeting with the contractor, Perry from PBS. He's done a lot more for us outside of his scope. He's not, we were handling a lot of it. We did a lot of the construction oversight there, but he also interacted a lot with the plumber and the electrician, which was not in his bailiwick.
Right.
He was acting as a contractor and not getting paid for it. So, we do have to offer our thanks for that. So, with that, I'm comfortable with this amount and the work does look good. So could I get a motion on that resolution?
So moved.
Second,
Second,
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I vote aye.
Aye.
Next is a resolution approving the following change order for the Town Hall renovation project in the amount of $15,999, and that is for rebuilding the existing chimney, also for PBS construction.
So this was also not part of the scope of the bid document. The chimney does need to come down and be rebuilt.
It is down.
Yeah.
It
Okay.
came down.
Had
It's
gone
gone. Yeah, it's right down to it.
We would anticipate this is the last change order we're going to see. I mean, I don't know
Yes.
what else could be coming. We did a walkthrough the other day. We're down to a punch list. They're hustling to get us, back in there and get the chimney back up. Although there will be, I just thought of it, since we're talking about this chimney, the boiler that's going into that chimney, we're going to be replacing the boiler in Town Hall because we've had a series of issues with it. We're going to put in a new boiler since we're going through all this effort. We certainly don't want to wind up next winter with a boiler that's failing, and especially now that we have the opportunity, the building's under construction, rather than shutting it down next winter and things like that. But that boiler replacement will be the last of the changes.
Oh, there's going to be some repair to the trim where the electricians had some mishaps.
But that's not going to be a change order.
I don't know who's paying for that, but I don't think it's going to be Perry. So
It's not going to be us.
no, it's going to be an argument, but
Yeah, well,
Is that boiler?
I've had
gonna
plenty of
be through-
those.
That new boiler gonna go through PV's construction? We're gonna get the bids outside?
No, we're doing that with the HVAC supplier.
Oh, okay.
who has been absolutely
Yeah,
the
he's a
star
good guy.
contractor, the
Yeah,
star
he's a-
contractor.
He's a gem. He
Yes,
really
He
is.
is, he is fantastic, Mike.
Doesn't get excited about anything.
No,
No,
he's- and his
thankfully,
work
he's a
is-
big
his
guy.
work is very, very good. And he's always amenable, open to suggestions, changes. He's done a lot of things for us at no charge.
Yeah.
So,
A lot of value engineering by Mike.
yeah, and
Yeah.
several big, changes to the original plan. We talked about configuring things or how they were going to run. So,
is
but,
a generator, is that all resolved too?
we have what's called the generator disconnect interface in. We didn't purchase the generator yet, but we figured while we had all these things going on, to not at least put in the infrastructure for a generator would be foolish. It'd wind up costing us more later on. But the generator we haven't purchased yet. We can do that down the road. We're just trying to get done with the work at hand and get back in. And then we'll handle some things from there on out. But getting back to the chimney, again, that had to be done. The chimney was just about falling down. So, and we're redoing the roof, so it interacts at the same time. New flashing, new chimney, new roof. So could I get a motion on that resolution approving that cost for the chimney?
Just one quick on the chimney, is how far down is it going? Just below the roof level?
It's
Going into the
right down to the roof line right now, and that's where they'll counter flash it and then rebuild the chimney from there up.
Yeah.
The bricks were literally, you could take them out by hand.
Yeah, no, I
But they
understand. I just wondered how far I had to go down. That's all.
Yeah, he brought it right down to the roof line. If you drive by in the morning, you'll see it. It's
Yeah, I know it was missing. I saw it.
right where he counter flashed.
Yeah, and then Justin Caker, the architect, has given him a design for that. Showing him pictures of what we want with the corbelling at the top. So it'll be a nice job when it's done again. Could I get a motion on that resolution?
So moved.
Second.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Next is a resolution authorizing Supervisor Shea to sign the intermunicipal agreement regarding shared equipment with the town of Cortland, Village of Croton-on-Hudson, Village of Buchanan, and City of Peekskill for 2021.
So, this was an initiative that was started years ago. The state was mandating that we do intermunicipal agreements and have cooperative agreements with people in order to save taxpayer money. So we don't have to, all these municipalities involved don't have to buy every single machine or own everything. We can share equipment, we can share services, and in the end, it winds up saving money. So the larger the pool, the better off we are. This one has continued to expand. So, our thanks mostly to Carl and the highway department, because that's largely where this pertains to.
The important thing is these are reciprocal. They go both ways.
Yes, they do.
It's not a one-way deal.
And pretty soon we'll be the only ones on the planet with graders.
Yeah.
But it is
Yeah,
helpful to us, and we have benefited from it, especially with the county. So if I could get a resolution to authorize me to sign that agreement.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And I vote aye. Thank you.
Next is a resolution approving the Garrison Volunteer Ambulance Corps 2020 sponsor approval form for the length of service award program.
Something we do every year. For people not as familiar with this, this is a small benefit that volunteers receive for going out and fighting fires and pulling people out of cars and doing all the service they do in emergency services. So it's at least something that can be offered to volunteers. I fully support it. Every year we have fewer and fewer volunteers, so at least there's something to try to serve as an initiative to bring people in. John, have you had a chance to look that over?
I did. It looks like there's 9 people that have made that. This is the ambulance corps, so it's EMS calls, and it looks like there's 9 of them that made the 50-point minimum. So
Yeah.
All right. With that, I'd be happy to receive a motion on that resolution.
So moved.
Oh, go
Second.
ahead. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And I vote aye. And our thanks to the Garrison Volunteer Ambulance Corps. A great
Absolutely.
organization.
Next is a resolution accepting the proposal from Gerard Associates for electrical engineering support for supply power for the new PBS fueling facilities for the new highway garage, and this is non-proton.
This is part of the effort to rebuild the highway facility.
Excuse me.
We are, well, regardless of whether we were rebuilding or not up there, we did have to put in a new refueling station. We were not in compliance with DEC or DEP regulations. So we found that out in going through this process. And it's better to have an up-to-date fueling station. You know, you have less chances for spills or any sort of waste. A modern fueling station is part of any fleet. So We've already accepted this proposal. It's under the $30,000 limit for services. So we're going ahead with them just to keep things moving. And they have an excellent reputation. And there's not a lot of people doing this specific type of work, but we're happy to be moving along with this. Could I get a motion on that resolution?
So
So
moved.
moved.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I vote aye.
Next on the agenda is a discussion with regard to the Garrison Post Office.
So this is more of an update on, what's been a couple of continuing issues. Once the post office moved most of the services for handling mail down to Garrison, it became a much busier place where people in back of the post office were enjoying a residential quality of life. Suddenly they were being disrupted at 4 o'clock in the morning with trucks pulling in, bright lights, backup signals, slamming tailgates, kids can't sleep. The pattern has been, and this goes back a long time. I don't know if you can remember the meeting we had at Haldane School. We had quite a turnout in the music room that time. I mean, I don't know if that's 8 years ago now, maybe longer. We'll get complaints. We'll reach out to the post office representative, Mr. Shapiro. He'll, contact the powers that be. It'll calm down for a little while. And then within a month, it starts again. So we've had meetings down there. We've reached out to federal representatives. We reached out to state representatives. We've, written letters, and you just, you don't have a lot of control over the United States Postal Service. They do have to deliver the mail. And the problem, one of the bigger problems is now that the fact that you have Amazon and all these other services that are also interacting with the Postal Service. So, they might pull in there at 3 o'clock in the morning, boom, boom, down comes the gate, and everybody in the neighborhood's being woken up because you're the beep, beep, beep of the backup. We're going to continue to try to resolve this. And I know Nancy has been helping out immensely in this, reaching out to everybody that she can possibly reach out to try to solve this issue. It is a thorny and seemingly intractable issue. There's also sort of a neighbor issue down there. People aren't happy. The neighbors aren't happy with the owner of the plaza and the post office. This is Mr. Raju and now his son Aman. My experience is in disputes of this sort, you're better off sitting down as neighbors and trying to work it out. And I know there's been some of that. We've largely heard from the neighbors. I did see a couple emails that were sent to Aman Raju. I have to say the tone of those was not something that would bring about harmony. They were a little rough, and they also completely closed the door on any further discussion. I know that Aman is trying to work to clean things up down there. He does, they do have to do maintenance. They plow the road. They own trucks. They have to maintain their postal site, the market site, things like that. But I would encourage, and I've, offered to sit down with everybody and say, look, what can we do? To act as sort of a mediator. But so far, I haven't had any acceptance on that. And I would hope that the neighbors would sit down and work something out in good faith. From my interaction with Aman Raju, it feels like he's open to this sort of thing and is trying to build some, good faith with the neighbors and trying to do the right thing. We'll see how that goes forward. I'm going to continue to interact with him and encourage him to be a good neighbor, but I would also encourage the residents down there to be open to a discussion and, not to be so harsh with the rhetoric. This younger guy is taking over for his father, Beldev. I've known the family for 35 years. So, I have had a lot of interaction with them, but again, I would encourage everybody to open up a dialogue and be receptive to Aman's, his putting out a fig leaf at this point. I'm not sure what else can be done in there, but again, as far as the United States Postal Service, we will continue as a municipality to apply pressure as much as we can. But it just seems to be a repetitive pattern. Things calm down for a little while and then they just pick back up. Nancy, I don't know if you want to add anything to that. Maybe Nancy is.
Yep.
No, I'm here. Sorry, I'm just slow with the uptake here. It does feel like beating your head against the wall. We have gone as far as bringing the post office, the neighbors and the property owner together, the local folks that work at the post office. It's, I'm pretty frustrated. I'm sorry to hear that the neighbors are still being disrupted. Every time I get an email about a 3 a.m, awakening. It's really tough. It's a residential community adjacent to really what's an industrial business zone. It's not an easy one to solve. And I feel for the neighbors. I wish it would get resolved quicker. I wish we could find a solution for that plaza, for the property owner. I understand that there's work being done. I just, at this point, I'm sorry. I just really don't know what to say. I'm frustrated with the United States Post Office not helping us out a little more. Really, everybody thinks let them find another site, but that causes alarm with me too, because what can go into that site after? It could be worse. I don't know what the answer is, and I'm really sorry for the neighbors that have to deal with it. And now that there's a neighbor conflict, because there's nothing worse than that. I want it resolved. I want these neighbors to be able to live together and their children to observe them appreciating their neighbors. That's all.
And one of the issues is with the post office is they have immunity from local zoning. So
Yeah, well, it's any government entity. Look at the county with Tilly Foster.
yeah, but I agree. It's just been entirely frustrating. That does not mean that we are not receptive to hearing from people and that we will not follow up with the manager of the post office, with this facilities manager, every time we hear something. I share Nancy's frustration. I don't know what to say. We're going up against the United States Post Office, and it's an uphill battle. But again, we're going to keep plugging away, keep writing letters. I don't know. We could talk to our attorney and see if there's any legal remedy for this. I don't know about dragging the United States Post Office into court, but.
Well, I just like to say, Nancy, you hit on it. It is industrial property, and there is neighbors. The proximity is so close, and we really got to be careful to watch what you wish for, because we could end up with something worse and less responsible than the post office. So, like you both have said, we need to work out an agreement with the neighbors. That's the best solution, to keep the post office in there. But get them to cooperate with the hours of operation, and maybe some sort of noise defending or deflecting device or something along those lines to create a barrier. But I think we have to be careful about what else we get in there. So
Yeah, add the frying pan into the fire.
yeah.
There is a resident on who would like to comment on the matter. I don't know
Absolutely.
if you want to hear from him now or wait till
No,
later.
let's go ahead. We're having a discussion.
Okay, Jeff?
Yeah, I'm on. Thank
Go
you
ahead.
so much. And I just want to thank you guys for everything and for bringing this up and for listening. And I know that Richard and Nancy have been open to hearing from us for several years. As you guys know, this goes back to, it was 2014, Richard, I think, when the Cold Spring Roots moved into the Garrison, what was just a retail walk-in post office. And as you guys know, those Cold Spring routes are gone. The thing that's now happening, I know you guys are talking about, it's hard to take on the federal post office and the federal government. The other issue here is Amazon. We have the postmaster at the Garrison Post Office has been, I think, trying really hard to work with Amazon, and it's been incredibly difficult. So what we're experiencing, based on our reporting, is Amazon trucks coming in, backing up, using lights, banging into the gate, their backup beepers. We have 8 kids, grade school age and younger, in the neighborhood. And I would, anyway, and I think in 2014, Barbara Scucciamara said that it was an awful plan to bring those routes here. And I know it sounds to me like you guys were battling this, and it happened anyway. 7 years later, it is inappropriate. And this is not an industrial. It's not an industrial strip in a residential neighborhood. As we understand it, it's hamlet mixed use, where you have residential, right hard on, business properties. But this, is an inappropriate use. I know that there are federal trumps local. Whatever they're doing is completely against local ordinances, noise ordinances. You can't have noise until after 7 a.m. We're getting it at 4:30. And we've had neighbors to go down there. We've had Amazon workers yell at neighbors at 4:30 in the morning for having the nerve to confront them about the noise that wakes us up. Anyway, it in the mind of 15 neighbors, it's inappropriate use. And yes, of course, we would like to see the routes moved and the Amazon moved. If it's the residential walk-in site, that's great. And yes, I understand we have to be wary about what could come into the site after that. So I realize this is a tricky issue, but having Amazon and having trucks come in and out at that time of the morning, it's inappropriate for residential.
The thing I would say, and I don't know if it's a possibility, I'm just throwing it out there, sure, the United States Post Office has this level of immunity, but Amazon does not.
Yeah, I mean, you are talking about 2 of the least responsive organizations that we have in this country, is the U.S. Postal Service and Amazon. And our guy at the local post office spent months even trying to get Cold Spring Amazon deliveries to stop arriving at Garrison. That took 2 months, but they still have a couple trucks coming in very, very early. I mean, if there's a way to have Amazon be receptive, that's great. I understand it's a frustrating issue, but what we're saying here doesn't feel like anything that will be any different. I mean, Nancy's been great. We've talked to Sean Patrick Maloney's office. I know, Richard, you've been responsive, but we're pushing up against 2 very unresponsive organizations here. And, as far as the neighborhood goes, the question about, moving to a more appropriate site, and so you can pull Cold Spring routes away from Mohegan or wherever they are now, feels like a discussion that's worth having.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, who do we have that discussion with? That's the question. I mean, we could try to get a contact. We could also reach out to, the regional director for Amazon and say, look, you need to adhere to our local ordinances. You're not the USPS. And they shouldn't be coming in there before 7 a.m. But I know, you hear delivery trucks. I live on 90, so every morning I can tell when it's about 4 a.m. because the trucks start rolling by and then traffic picks up. So it is a thorny issue, but
it's Sunday mornings, and it's on Christmas season. It's horrendous.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, and our apologies for not being able to be more effective, but it isn't for lack of effort. That's for certain.
So, I mean, I'm here representing, in 15 households nearby. What can we do? Can we collect signatures? What would you suggest us doing? The idea of can we join into any sort of a legal action? That we're 7 years into dealing with this.
Let me reach out to our attorney and see what he thinks. I'll talk to him tomorrow. I have spoken to him in the past. We've talked about code enforcement, only to find out they're immune to our local code enforcement, which is really not fair, but talking about the post office. And then if we could, I guess we could work on trying to find a contact of someone we could speak to at Amazon. They must have a distributorship around here somewhere where these trucks are coming from. Say, look, we don't want them in town. We don't want them at the post office before 7 a.m. I don't think it's unreasonable. Nobody else in town could be running a business before 7 a.m. Why is it that Amazon can come here and unload trucks before 7?
Yeah.
You know,
Agreed. And I thank you for your time. I want to address quickly the history between neighbors and the Rajus. And I think, to be fair, there's been a lot of disingenuous work and corner cutting there. I think the town board or the planning board asked for appropriate fencing back there a few years ago, and we got, chain link fencing with green strips in it. The post office needed the back parking lot repaved. They repaved it this summer without putting in drainage, and so they had to plow their snow out of the post office lot and across Grassy Lane, which is a private road that they don't have access to. And now we're going to be looking at big bills because of decisions that were made by the landlord. And so there's a long history there, and I'm sure we can deal with it, and bring people around the table, and we'll try to do that. They have not necessarily, taken steps along the way to be in the best graces of the neighbors.
No, I understand. I mean, these are some of the toughest issues, but shutting down or casting aspersions, that never is going to, in the end succeed. So I think that, in civil matters, my advice is to have an honest dialogue. If you find out that ultimately that somebody's not dealing in good faith, then you can move on from there. But that generally,
and we'll do our best. We're going to have to come together to figure out the drainage issues with the road, which are separate from the post office, but also involve them. So that's ongoing as well.
Right, Jeff, we'll follow up with you. I mean, Nancy and I will speak after this. We'll try to get a contact at Amazon. I'll speak to the attorney tomorrow about the possibility of some sort of action.
Thank you. We did have Sean Patrick Maloney's office engaged last summer, and haven't heard from them, but I feel like they're a good advocate and partner here. And so anything you can do to bring them back in on the federal side would be appreciated.
All right.
Jeff, I have one
Thank
question.
you.
Do you guys have a property owners agreement for the homes that are on that road? It seems like it would work better if you were, under one umbrella.
We have made an association and had a couple meetings when we were dealing with some other issues, but no more formalized.
Okay.
Than that.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thanks, Jeff.
Okay, next on the agenda is to schedule any workshops or meetings. Right now, we have a workshop scheduled for next Wednesday, the 10th at 7 p.m. And that's for an update with Jeff Demansky for the CCA program. And as of right now, our monthly meeting is scheduled for April 1st. If I could, I would like to request to have that pushed back a week, just because that is our moving weekday. Yeah.
It's also,
Definitely. Let's move that meeting out a week.
Yeah, so we'll push that to the 8th.
Yep.
And that will be via Zoom.
Yes.
Yeah, I have a request for a workshop. As you know, we got 2 proposals for a solar on the rec center. I talked to both of those people who submitted their proposals. I would like to have a workshop with both of them, obviously one at a time, to go over the proposals and any questions that anyone may have to be addressed, and so we can make an intelligent decision on which one we want to go with.
And that's for rec. When do you want to do it?
Well, I already talked to them about the 10th, but obviously we don't already have something the 10th, and the following week, St. Patrick's Day. So I don't know if we want to have a meeting on St. Patrick's Day. So maybe the following, unless you're okay with the St. Patrick's Day.
I'm not.
I'm
No, I'll
not.
say, me either.
No.
Either.
Get it.
Oh, no, all right, so maybe the 24th, let me reach out to them and see if their availability on the 24th for 7 o'clock.
Okay,
I'll
Okay,
put that down tentatively then, and you can
Tentatively,
let me
yes.
know, or
Yes.
I can reach out
Okay.
to them if you want me to.
great. All right.
I just have a question. Sorry, if I may. What are you doing St. Patrick's Day?
Not having a workshop.
Okay, exactly.
having corned beef and cabbage and a couple of Guinnesses.
Exactly.
Listening to some music. Irish soda bread.
Yeah, that
Bacon.
was my parents'
Gotta have
anniversary.
that.
And it's my brother's birthday. So,
Okay, next on the agenda, we have the Code Enforcement Monthly Report, and this is for February 2021. Total fees collected, it was $34,163.75. There were 27 total permits issued, 2 new 1 or 2 family dwellings, 2 additions, alterations, or repairs to residential buildings, 23 all other permits, pools, sheds, decks, plumbing, HVAC, etc. 18 certificates of occupancy, 1 stop work order was issued, and there were 2 inspections of public assembly.
I'll tell you, when you have a good code enforcement officer, people come in and they do things legally because they know they're going to be treated reasonably and with respect. And I'll tell you, I can't say enough about Greg. The whole office, they do a terrific job. So our thanks to them and thanks for the report. Anything else from the town board?
I got a couple of
Oh, go
things
ahead.
I'd like to bring up. Vineyard Road, I got that snow removed for the tower. Vineyard, unfortunately, now that Homeland Towers owns it still, but they don't maintain it. They have a third party that maintains that. But
Mhm.
anyway, I was able to get in touch with somebody that did get the snow removed and it's plowed. Also, me and Carl met with Greg down in Indian Brook Road the other day to discuss his plans of more signage and so forth like that. We didn't make any promises to him whatsoever. We told him to review it. Me and Carl worked together. And I have a call into Robert Langley, the sheriff, if they want to make that one area a fire lane. I'm just waiting to hear a call back from our sheriff to see what we need to do that. So we spent about a half hour, 45 minutes with him down there the other day. I also called 2 e-waste vendors as well, just get some information, because I know we've been talking about that for quite some time. I did get some information we can discuss probably some other time, but I did reach out to them. And also too, our copiers release is up, so I met with 2 copier/printer vendors as well to get quotes. So I had a pretty busy month.
It sounds that way. Yeah, thanks for doing all that. I don't think anybody realizes all the issues that have to be dealt with for a municipality to keep the wheels turning.
Hey, Bobby, when are the leases up on those printers? I mean, should we move them from the copiers? Should we move them or
Well,
leave
I
them?
think it's like up April 1st, so they're supposed to come back.
Good timing.
They should have a proposal both come back to me probably later this week or early next week.
All right, so if we're not going to go with the same company, then maybe we'll just not pay to move it, because I know the
Possibly.
movement, yeah, that's a big production. 'Cause he has to break it down to 1 unit.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's a good point. So we'll say yes.
All right.
All right. Thanks for all that, Bob.
No sweat.
Oh, I just wanted,
Also,
the Putnam County Solid Waste Management Focus Group met a couple of weeks ago. I attended that meeting. The next meeting is next week. And they are looking at county-wide solutions to e-waste, which I know we've been talking about that. And also the possibility of a county-wide composting site was discussed, as well as more collaboration on recycling. I want to thank the Highway Department for their input. They gave me some information before the meeting, as well as Crystal Ford for her input before the meeting on some of the issues that they were raising. And I just wanted to thank the Highway Department again for their amazing job during the snowstorms. I just couldn't believe how clear the roads were, and I know they were working around the clock. So thank you.
And one disturbing thing has been during this pandemic that highway workers were not in the eligible category. It didn't make any sense at all. I mean, you have, I understand, that everybody's important, but if a highway department gets wiped out, nobody's gonna be plowing the roads. Then you got serious issues. So I think it was a big mistake not making them an eligible category. And I really think that needs to happen. On the county call every week, we're pushing for it. We know that they're pushing for it from the county level. Every supervisor in the county brings it up at every meeting. So it's just, if you go down with your whole highway department, it's not gonna be pretty.
On
They
one
are,
hand, I'm sorry. On one hand, they were essential workers, but they weren't,
Yeah.
we weren't vaccinating them. I guess if they took garbage, then if they're garbage or sanitation removal, then they get vaccinated, correct?
Yep.
yes.
And have
So-
garbage piling up like snow
Right.
can.
Yeah.
On that note, food pantry workers too, now they're eligible, but it was a tough, long slog getting them eligible, getting
Yeah.
them, I wrote to everybody but luckily I think most of our Philipstown food pantry workers are vaccinated, but how could that not be like completely essential? I don't know.
Yeah, and we've been working closely with the food pantry. I mean, I'm happy to announce that we've raised almost $600,000 toward food assistance, and that's come
Wow.
all from Phillipstown residents. And we've had some very, very generous donors. So people in this community really do step up to help their neighbors, and that money's, working in Phillipstown, but also working in Putnam Valley and Beacon and Newburgh and Peekskill. So it's really, it's quite a generous effort that's been out there. So I've been lucky to be able to interact with all these groups. But it's been great. And we're going to continue to do that until this pandemic is behind us. Mike, do you have anything?
Yeah, the stormwater management program is the annual attending on March 9th, just like we do every year. We will be, of course, getting the report together. Max Garfinkel, the Natural Resource Officer, will coordinate that. Obviously, Carl Facenda Highways on our group as well. We'll put the report together. Max will get the report to Tara for April to be put on our town website to be reviewed by the public. And then I'm requesting that our May meeting, that we have a public hearing to hear people. If there's anything stated there, we obviously would adjust the reports, and then the reports go out to the state at the end of May. Okay, thanks. That's it.
Mike, yeah, we'll get that done.
Hey, also kudos to Climate Smart for reaching the bronze level. That is not an easy thing to have achieved for a small town. So kudos to the committee for reaching that goal.
Yeah, I met with Roberto today. We signed some of the documents to move ahead with some other things, including grants, but it's a big deal. And I got my nephew works at the DEC, and he sent me a text today saying, congratulations on the bronze. It's a big deal. It really is. There's a
Yep.
tremendous amount of work that goes into that. And I know other communities are looking to Phillipstown as a model for things that can be done and should be done.
Absolutely.
Anything from the audience?
I know that Philipstown Aging at Home was going to say a few words about some of the work they're doing, but I don't know if they were interested in.
I was gonna say, Judy, I don't see
Sheila,
anyone on
Alinda?
the meeting.
No.
No.
All right. Vacancies. We have one vacancy on the Board of Assessment Review. I'm hoping somebody will step in to take that. It's not a big commitment, but it is interesting work. So
Would it be okay with the board if I re-advertised at least one more time in the paper?
no, please do. Approval of vouchers, general.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Vote aye. Highway.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Vote aye. Continental Village Park District.
So moved.
Second.
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I vote aye. Continental Village Water District.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye. Mike, just on the Continental Village Water District, I'm continuing to work with Cortland, trying to address the issue for those few residents who are still getting cloudy water. We sent out another letter today. I plan on speaking to the supervisor next week. So hopefully we'll get some resolution to that. So,
I appreciate your efforts, Rich. Obviously, Ron Gaynor, our engineer, has really reached out. But we've had no response back. Even if they just responded, if they won't do anything, at least we.
yeah, I'll get a response next week.
Thank you.
All right, motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Night,
Good night.
folks.
Thanks, everybody.
Good night.
Take care, everybody.
Good night.
Take care. Have a good night.